You know that feeling, right? You start a garden in May, it's beautiful, it's thriving, and then by August, it just looks sad, tired, depleted. You've done everything right, you've even bought the expensive fertilizers, but something just isn't working. It's a super common problem, but I'm gonna let you in on a secret. The answer isn't what you think it is. In fact, you're not going to find the solution on a shelf at the garden center. Nope, it's probably sitting in your trash can or on your kitchen counter right now. We're talking about two of the most powerful soil-transforming ingredients on the planet, and they're things most of us throw away every single day. So, in this explainer, we are going to break down how two simple, everyday items can spark what we're calling the two-ingredient soil revolution. Okay, here's the game plan. First, we're going to look at why our soil is probably starving. Then we'll introduce our two heroes, coffee, the biological engine, and ash, the mineral powerhouse. After that, we'll get into the synergy method, that's how they work together, and we'll wrap up with three really important rules for success. So first things first, we have to get to the root of the problem. Why do so many gardens just fizzle out? Well, it all comes down to a huge misunderstanding of what our soil actually needs to thrive. Take a look at this, because it really shows the difference. Those synthetic fertilizers, the colorful powders and pellets, think of them like an energy drink for your plants. They give this huge, fast jolt of mineral salts, and you get a quick burst of green growth. But here's the problem. They do absolutely nothing for the soil itself. They don't feed the bacteria, the fungi, the earthworms, that whole invisible army that keeps soil alive. And over time, that army just disappears. The soil gets hard and lifeless, and you end up having to buy more and more fertilizer just to get the same results. It's a losing battle. And that brings us to our first ingredient, something a lot of organic gardeners already love. It's designed to feed that invisible workforce we just talked about, used coffee grounds. Now, I know what you're thinking. You see that number, 2% nitrogen, and you're probably thinking, that's it? That bag of fertilizer at the store says it has 20 or 30%. But hold on. The secret here isn't about the amount. It's all about the delivery. See, unlike those chemical fertilizers that just dissolve and wash away in the next rain, the nitrogen in coffee is locked up tight inside organic molecules. Your plants can't even get to it directly. It has to be broken down by all that life in the soil, the bacteria and fungi. This creates this amazing, slow, steady drip feed of nutrients that lasts for months, and it nourishes the entire soil ecosystem. And this is where it gets really cool. The coffee grounds kick off this incredible self-reinforcing cycle. First, they're a feast for all the microbes. And wherever microbes party, earthworms show up. They are drawn to coffee grounds. As the worms tunnel around, they aerate the soil and they leave behind their castings, which are basically nature's perfect fertilizer. The whole system just builds on itself, creating richer, healthier soil year after year. But there's a catch, a big one that almost nobody talks about. After a couple of years of just using coffee grounds, a lot of gardeners notice that things kind of stall. The magic just fades. So what gives? Well, while coffee provides all that incredible biological fuel, the engine is running on empty. It's missing almost all of the essential minerals. And that missing piece of the puzzle? Well, it's probably been sitting in your fireplace all winter. Yep, we're talking about wood ash, the mineral powerhouse that completes the system. I just love this quote because it captures what wood ash really is. I mean, think about it. For 50, maybe 100 years, a big hardwood tree is driving its roots deep into the earth, pulling up all these minerals that your little tomato plants could never dream of reaching. Then, when the wood burns, all the carbon goes up into the air, but the minerals, they stay behind. Super concentrated, super potent, and ready for your garden. And the mineral content is just staggering. Wood ash is typically 20 to 25% calcium. That's a huge deal for plants. Plus, it's got about 5% potassium, which is what drives all your fruit and flower production. It's literally a treasure chest of the exact things that coffee grounds are missing. And let's just focus on calcium for a second. Think of it like the skeleton for your plants. It's what gives structure to every single cell wall, making the plant stronger and more resilient. And it's the absolute key to preventing that awful blossom end rot that turns the bottom of your tomatoes and peppers all black and mushy. So, we have our two ingredients, the biological engine and the mineral powerhouse. But the real power here isn't in using them separately. I mean, sure, they're helpful on their own, but when you combine them the right way, that's when the real magic happens. This is maybe the most important idea to get. You aren't just adding the benefits of coffee to the benefits of ashwa. You are literally multiplying their effects to create something way, way more powerful than either one could be alone. Okay, so here's how it works. The coffee grounds go in and they build this massive, thriving biological workforce, all those bacteria and earthworms. Then you add the wood ash, which provides the raw mineral materials. And that workforce, which is already there and hungry, becomes the perfect delivery system. It processes those minerals from the ash and delivers them right to your plant's roots in a form they can actually use. You are literally creating a living fertility factory right there in your own soil. And getting started couldn't be simpler. When you go to plant something new, just follow this little protocol. Dig your hole, toss a small handful of coffee grounds in the bottom, then add a tiny bit of ash, and I mean tiny, like no more than a teaspoon. Now this next step is absolutely critical. Cover that mix with an inch or two of just plain soil from your garden. This creates a safety buffer. It lets the roots grow down into the good stuff on their own time. Then just set your plant in and backfill like normal. Okay, now we have to talk about the serious stuff. Because wood ash is so powerful, it can also be dangerous if you use it wrong. And getting this wrong doesn't just mean your garden won't do well, it could actually kill it. So let's go over the 3 rules you absolutely must follow. The number 1 most common and most destructive mistake is what the source material calls the dry ash dump. This is literally just taking a scoop of dry ash from your fireplace and chucking it directly onto your garden. Please don't do this. Here's why that's a total disaster. Dry wood ash is extremely alkaline. It has a very high pH. The moment it hits your moist soil, it sets off this crazy chemical reaction that spikes the pH way up, and it will literally burn the delicate roots of your plants on contact. It can also lock up other nutrients in the soil, like iron and phosphorus, basically starving your plants. The solution is simple, but it is non-negotiable. You must always dilute the ash with water to make an extract before you ever put it in your garden. All right, rule number 2 is just as critical. You have to know which plants should never, ever, ever see wood ash. This is the acid lover's trap. So because ash makes the soil more alkaline, it is straight up poison for plants that need acidic soil to live. We're talking about things like blueberries, azaleas, and rhododendrons. If you put ash on them, it'll stop them from absorbing iron, and their leaves will turn this sickly, ghostly yellow. And for potatoes, the alkaline soil actually promotes a disease called scab, which makes the skins all rough and nasty. So just remember, keep ash far, far away from these plants. So, what happens when you follow these rules? When you make this simple routine of recycling your kitchen and fireplace waste a regular habit, well, the first year, you're going to see some nice improvements. But the real power is that this effect compounds. By year 3, that same soil that used to be hard and tired is now dark, it's spongy, and it's absolutely teeming with life. You've built a self-sustaining ecosystem that just gets better and better every single season, all by turning things you used to throw away into the foundation of a ridiculously productive garden.